Welcome back, everybody, at Sport Federation TV. And of course, as you know, we take a look at what's happening in the world of sport. And of course, in this case, tonight, we're going to be taking a look at equestrian sports. Of course, as you know, many different sport codes happening in the Western Cape when it comes to equestrian. They've got so many different codes, from show jumping to showing and tent pegging. And a lot of these events in the Western Cape, in fact, happen at the Mystico Sport Grounds over in Wellington. And I believe that the Paarl Equestrian Club is also at Mystico. Anyway, one of the Western Cape's top events organizers for equestrian sports is Siobhan Wall. And she joins me on the show now. Siobhan, welcome to Sport Federation TV. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks to yourself, JP. I have to give a bit of credit to my team as well. Won't be able to do it without my team. It's not just me. I've got a whole team behind me as well.
Well, we're fascinated about equestrian sports and the various events, because we also know that it's not just one code. You've got lots of different codes. Before you tell us about, because we really want to know from you, what does it mean to organize an equestrian event? But do you tell us a little bit about your own code? Have you got a preference for yourself? Is there something that you specialize in?
I used to be a tent pegger, but lately my preference is my show jumping, my eventing. But overall, you know, like I'm a very multi-discipline rider. I've done a bit of showing as well. So my preference is definitely the show jumping and eventing. It's a bit more of an adrenaline sport than everything else.
And with all the event organizing that you do, and we're going to get into that in a second, do you have time for yourself to do show jumping or showing?
Like I said earlier, no, I'm lucky. I'm the front head, but I've got a great team behind me that do majority of the work.
Yeah.
And then I'm lucky enough to just say yes, no, whatever. But I'm basically the front part, but they all the hard working and everything. But take some strict discipline to say, you know, from 8 until morning, that's my time. That's when I ride. Before that, I will do some work at Mystico, and after that, I do some work at Mystico. But it does take discipline to say, you know, between 8 and 10, I don't answer my phone. Don't bother me unless something's serious. But that's my time when I ride and spend time with my horses.
So when we look at sport on TV, we see rugby, we see football, we see athletics, and we know what those facilities look like. It's a field that's got poles, or it's a field that's got goalposts. In athletics, there's a round track and people run on it, and there's grass, and they throw javelins or balls or shot puts or whatever it is. Tell us a little bit about your typical equestrian facility.
So basically, equestrian is very all-round. You know, you've got your majority of sport takes place on grass. That's your show jumping, your showing, all of that takes on grass. Then you've got your dressage that mainly takes place on sand and artificial ground and footing. Your eventing that has your 3 phases. Your eventing has your show jumping, your dressage, and your country. Dressage would take place on your artificial ground, your sand. Your jumping would take place on the grass, and then you have your country aspect that's out in the country, out in the field, where you've got to jump logs and water crossings and all of that. Then you've got your endurance, which, you know, doesn't have the grass, the artificial. That's just out in the field, you know, ranking up the kilometers. Then you've got your vaulting and your reining. That's all on on sand as well, artificial footing. So, you know, each discipline wants their footing prepared differently. So it does take a bit of, you know, concentration and science. Yeah. And, you know, it's not just making sure your grass is green. You know, we want a bit of sponge on the grass. All of that, you know, your sand for your dressage, all of that, you know, it needs to be a certain thickness, a certain consistency, you know, so it's not that easy.
You're talking about quite a lot of specs. For each code, there's a certain specifications of what they need. How does that work for you guys, typically from an organizing point of view? Does it start months before event codes telling you what they need for the day? Or do they simply give you the date and you guys make it happen?
Well, with us, we are quite fortunate because we are ongoing equestrian facility. we have our grounds ready at all time.
Right.
Luckily with the grass, showing can compete on jumping's grass and everything. So you always have your grass ready for jumping. It's not something that you can realize a week before the time and say, oh, I need to get my arena ready for a big show. Yeah. It's something that takes months of preparation. So it's easier that once you get it there, to keep consistency and to keep that level of perfection up. It does take a lot of money to get it there, but once you have it there, it's a lot easier to keep it there than if you can let it go back, just to get it there again. It takes time and a lot of money.
And I suppose in addition to getting it there, you also have to think about what's happening on the day in terms of scheduling, more than just the horses or the animals. There's parking. I mean, how complicated is the day itself when it comes to an event?
To go back to the ground on which the horses compete, you've got to let your higher graded riders jump first, so that they, at the end of the day, have the best firm footing for their horses, talking in show jumping now. And your ponies jump last, because unfortunately your ponies are the kids that chase around and go for the win instead of, nice consistent rounds. So that itself takes a lot of preparation, working out the schedule, making sure your top riders get priority in the arena. And then at an event's point of view, it's just like any event. You've got your fire drills, you've got your exit plans. You've got to make sure your parking is like any other event, except there's horses involved.
So do you have to think of ticketing and hospitality and boerewors rolls and those kind of things as well?
So basically, with
or is it more caviar and cream?
I wish, can they please invite me to that? So basically, with our equestrian sport, especially in the Western Cape, there is no gate fee, there is no entrance fee.
Right.
We try and encourage the public to come and support, come and look at what the younger generation and the rest of the sport can do. And then basically catering-wise, we've got a kiosk on the property that's and then if it's a big event like the Youth Champs we hosted in December, we had extra caterers come in. We had a hospitality suite for all the judges and all our main sponsors. And there we got the nice servings of nice food and everything, and not just the burgers and boerewors rolls. But it depends on from event to event, we like to encourage people to come, and that's why we don't ask the entrance fee. People can have a look at our Facebook page, and there's always something happening here. Have a look at it, and bring your kids, bring your family, bring granny, bring grandpa, come and have a look.
Siobhan, let's leave it at that. Listen, great stuff with all the events at Mystico. We're looking forward to coming out there ourselves and seeing some of the ponies in the paddock. And we'll hopefully catch up with you again soon.
Thank you so much. Super. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
There we go, folks. Siobhan Wall, Western Cape Equestrian Events Organizer out at Mystico, of course, in the Cape Winelands. If you have half a chance, get out there. Love the fact that the gate entry is free. Look out then for, of course, for the Western Cape Equestrian Sports Events Calendar. As you know, there are multiple codes there, from showing to show jumping and tent pegging and endurance, all within the equestrian sector. We'll take an ad break. When we come back, we'll carry on talking sport in the province. Back in a sec.